And welcome back to Metropole Sports Center. My name is Nashon Oano. Just off air, we are talking about the possibility of Manchester United finishing top 5 at the end of the season. But I think that's something for all of us to see whether they're going to finish the competition top 5. Away from matters football, now we shift gears into the NBA world just to try to make sense of some of the major activities that have taken place since the last time that we talk about NBA in the team. Just before I cross over to Zedi, who's my guest today in the show, these are just some of the results of the games that were played in the course of the week. Now, New York Knicks versus Orlando Magic, the game ended 89-107. Atlanta Hawks versus Bolton Celtics, the game ended 122-114. Houston Rockets versus Philadelphia 76ers, the game ended 113-118 in favor of Philadelphia 76ers. Denver Nuggets versus Washington Wizards, 128-130. Indiana Pacers versus Minnesota Timberwolves, the game ended 134-128. Detroit Pistons versus Chicago Bulls, 102-105. Trailblazers versus New Orleans Pelicans, the game ended 126-124. Miami Heat versus Golden State Warriors, 112-120. And then finally Utah Jazz versus the LA Clippers. Now I quickly cross over to my guest in the studio who has a soft spot for basketball. For those of you maybe who might not know, Zedi was a basketball player, and in as much as he loves football, there's always a special place for basketball in his heart. Now, Zedi, there's been a lot of developments that have been taking place in the NBA world. First things first, there was the move by James Harden from the Houston Rockets. What did you make of that particular move, and do you think it's gonna improve their position in the playoffs later on in the season?
Yeah, James Harden moving from the Rockets to the Nets, that was a shocker. No, majority of people did not expect it, did not see it. But remember, now they're making a trio of Kyrie, James, and Kevin Durant. And remember, now that transforms the Nets. Now they're contenders. It means they have to go all the way. The issue is now they have to look at how do they share the ball, how do they work together, who has the last shot, who do we go to, who is our go-to-go guy. Remember, all those three players, they are 30 points players per game. Their stats are over the roof. So at the end of the day, it transforms them. Remember, they may be struggling in terms of getting wins and stuff, because with the pandemic and everything, it's so hard to sustain the team. It's so hard to keep players healthy. They're 19 in 10, having played 29 games, won 19, lost 10. So it shows you, despite the fact that they have the trio, they're still struggling.
Okay. An interesting thing that maybe will be important to talk about was a team, maybe switching away from the players now is the team. A couple of seasons ago, that was in 2019-2020 season. Yeah. Toronto Raptors were actually doing very well, but looking at where they are at the moment, they are position 6 in the Eastern Conference. What exactly is happening at Toronto Raptors?
Again, as you have said, remember during the off-season, free agency struck them. They lost Serge Ibaka, they lost Gasol. These were some of the key players. These are players that determine the offense, the defense. Remember, Gasol may not have had much to do in terms of like numbers and stuff, but he had a very, very pivotal role in the Toronto Raptors. Remember, he was part of the championship winning team or roster. So he had a lot to play both on the court and also in the back room. And also remember, Toronto are not playing in Canada as well. They're in Florida at the Bay. And they have like to adapt now to form a new bubble. Remember, they are finding it difficult to connect with the Florida fans, because remember, at the end of the day, when everything goes back to normal, they have to go back to Canada. So even if you look at how they're trying like to package themselves, move their message out, it's all about their fan base in Canada. But remember, all this is because of COVID. They cannot travel. They cannot do what. They have a young roster, but they are 14. They have won 14, lost 15 games, so they're somewhere there. But I believe they're going to make it to the playoffs, maybe as a 5th, 6th, or 7th in terms of ranking. But I believe they're going to make, so a trade is on, and I believe they may trade for White Suns or maybe Oladipo, somebody that can add a star feeling to just help Lowry and Van Fleet and also Pascal Siakam, just to ensure that it gives them that edge when they get to the playoffs and maybe go all the way. But it's going to be tough for them. Remember, the Nets are there as well. Remember, the 76ers are there as well. Joel Embiid is doing a very, very fantastic job this season.
Also, interesting that you mentioned about the trading. And apart from the factors that you mentioned with relation to Toronto Raptors not playing at home, just before Kawhi Leonard moved away from Toronto Raptors, there was conversation about if he moves away from Toronto Raptors to go to the LA Clippers, then probably it was going to affect the performance of the Toronto Raptors. Are they seeing the impact that Kawhi Leonard had on the squad just before he left the team?
Yes, Kawhi Leonard is an all-star. He's an all-star. It brings a lot. Remember when this is a guy that has won 3 championships with 3 different teams, and it brings a lot of experience to the team and everything. He stretches the floor. Remember, he's a big. He can shoot one-on-one. He gets blocks. Is very, very fluid in terms of his movement and stuff. So the impact had to be felt. Remember, they also tried going in from Giannis Antetokounmpo just to bring somebody who has such numbers, such body frame to add into the team. Because like now they're struggling because they are somehow lean, more so in the center position, and that is why maybe them going for White Suns, White Suns, who is now with the Kings, will be a very, very good trade for them, or maybe Oladipo, and then they'll have to maybe trade 1 or 2 players as well to go the other side, or maybe give some draft pick. But I think the impact has been felt, because also if you look at LA Clippers, they're struggling, but Kawhi is making a very, very big impact for them as well, because the Clippers, they're third, they're 29, they're 29, so having played close to 30 games, won 21, lost 9, they're third in the West. So again, those numbers are there because Kawhi is there.
Okay. Speaking of numbers, LeBron James is not giving other players time to shine. I mean, he's equally performing as other people. And there's been talk about whether they're going to be defending their title. Do you think they are going to keep their title this season?
That question is determined with, are they going to be healthy as a team? Remember, like Anthony Davis was out there yesterday. He sat out the game, and they're playing maybe another finals team, and that is the Nets. And these are some of the things. We can see Kuzma stepping up. We can see other people stepping up. But LeBron has to step up game in, game out. Remember, he's the king. He's the franchise. So he can't back down. He has to keep on going. He has to keep on pushing. But them winning a championship will be determined with how healthy they are. And as we talk of trades, they're thinking of bringing Blake Griffin to the roster again. Remember, now that makes them have like 3 or 4 all-star in their rosters, and that makes them also to be contenders. So hopefully, at the end of the day, they need to be healthy. If they're not healthy, then it's going to be hard. Also for the Nets, they need to be healthy. You also see like the Golden State Warriors, they're struggling because they're not able to keep up in terms of health. And you have seen Klay Thompson's out for the rest of the season. We see Damon Green in and out of the squad. The young guys are trying to step up, but still, them remaining healthy for the rest of the season will determine whether they're going to win or not.
Okay. Speaking of Golden State Warriors, do you think the impeccable performance that Steph Curry has had when the season started is going to help them push through the season?
Yeah, it's an individual performance at the end of the day. Remember, they are 16-13. So having won 16 games, lost 13. They're just here and there. You don't know whether they're gonna win, they're gonna lose. They have had very, very big wins against big sides. Again, they lose to other small teams. Their rotation is well. The young guys are stepping up to the occasion and everything. The ball is rotating well. They're shooting well. But remember, at the end of the day, if Steph alone in that court, they can't win. They need other players to also step up. So Damon Green is very, very important. Klay Thompson is very, very important. And other players need to step up. If they cannot step up, and even if he puts up 60 points in every single game, it's going to be difficult to win games.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about, as you said, it's about the team effort that comes through to make the team succeed. Now, probably, I know it might be too early for us to make this prediction, but looking at the way the games that have been played so far, maybe you could give us your projection in terms of which teams you foresee going into the playoffs this year.
Teams are going to make it to the playoffs, but we can just look at maybe the top 3 in each conference or the top 4 in each conference. And when we look at the East, we expect the 76ers to be there. We expect the Nets to be there. We expect the Bucks to be there. We expect the Celtics to be there as their top 4 teams. And when we look at the West, we expect Utah Jazz to be there. They've been doing a very, very good job. LA to be there. LA Clippers to be there. Trailblazers to be there as well. Remember, they put up a show last time around. We thought they're going to win the league, but they didn't win. So these are some of the top 4 teams that I think are going to go all the way to the finals in whichever criteria that they're going to make it to the playoffs. But I believe they are title contenders in terms of how they're playing, in terms of how their rosters are, because they don't need to beef up that much in terms of just giving them that edge to win the league. But when you look at the East, we are trying to look at the Nets, the 76ers in the conference finals. Then we also, when you look at the West, you're trying to look at LA Clippers and the LA Lakers in the finals for the conference finals, and hopefully we get our best 2 for the best of 7 series.
Interesting that you've not mentioned Toronto Raptors in the playoffs for the Eastern Conference. But let's hope that the situation is going to change as the season progresses and they're able to capitalize and learn from the mistakes that they've made. Well, that was our guest on the show today. That is Zedekia Ong'ang'a, who's a coach and a sports analyst. That's all the time that we had for you on the third part of the show. We take a short commercial break. After the break, I'm going to be talking about the events watch. See you after the break.